going to bring all of that science, knowledge, and experience together to help you as a business owner really understand what your body needs if you want to be happy and fulfilled. The first thing that I want to talk about before anything is cost. Now, in my experience, I think people set goals wrong. I think they just look at the upside of what they're going to achieve from that goal instead of looking at what it's really going to cost them. I think when you set your business intention, you should ask yourself not what will I get from achieving this goal, but what is it really going to cost me to achieve that goal? And that's something that's obviously going to be changing all the time. But if you really look at what something's going to cost you can make a more informed decision of whether you really want to pay that cost. Now, a lot of business owners that I've met are more than happy to pay the cost of ruining their health to make lots of money and be successful in business. It's my personal philosophy that that is absolutely insane. And it makes no sense for two reasons. The first is that what is the point in making more money if ultimately you're not going to be able to enjoy it because your health is in a poor position? Health is the foundation of you experiencing life as much as you can and enjoying it. And if you don't have your health, energy, confidence, longevity will pretty much just go out the window. The second thing is that it's a bit of a paradox because everybody knows that your focus and your energy is what really dictates business results. Your health is energy. The healthier you are, the more energy and focus you have. Definitely to a certain point, you don't need to be an elite athlete to run a business, but to a point you need a good level of health to be able to give the energy and focus into actually growing the business. So by not prioritizing your health and getting it to that place, you're actually taking away from your business results. So from both standpoints, it makes absolutely zero sense to me. And I think people should really evaluate what they're willing to sacrifice in the pursuit of the success that they want. Because if you get your business well past the million mark and up to billions, however much you really want to make, but you don't have your health to fully experience it, and you've wasted years just stressing yourself, stressing out other people, and not enjoying life, you've got to ask yourself, is that really success? We then need to define what happiness is. And the easiest way to define happiness is to define it by what it isn't. So I'm going to start with psychological pain. Psychological pain is when you experience a negative emotion. And the reason this happens is a very simple equation. It is when how life is going does not meet how you think life should be. So you have an expectation of life. Life does not match that expectation, so you get psychological pain in the form of negative emotions. Suffering, which is a constant ongoing state of psychological pain, is the exact same equation. So life does not meet how you think life should be, and you feel completely powerless to change that. Happiness can then be defined on the complete opposite end of the spectrum. It is when life either exceeds or matches how you think it should be going. Now, if you listen to this carefully, you can probably spot why a lot of people spend most of their time suffering. They have an overemphasis on life making them happy. And the reality is you have zero control over how life is going. Life is constantly going to be up and down, growth and loss. That is just simply the cycles of how it works. So the people who overemphasize life needing to be a certain way are always going to be in this up and down yo-yo. I'm not saying that you can't influence life to be the way you want it to be. You absolutely can. What I'm saying that is if you are completely attached to life needing to be a certain way, you are inevitably always going to be in psychological pain or even suffer at some point because it obviously won't always match how you think. Now, the secret to navigating this and really achieve lasting happiness and peace, I personally learned from somebody called Eckhart Tolle, who I mentioned I've listened to well over 300 plus hours of his work. His whole teaching is around how to stop mentally suffering and instead be at peace and also be happy. And if I was to sum up his whole teaching in one sentence of how to do this, it is by not being attached to your thoughts and feelings, which is basically the same as not being attached to your perspective of how life should be, or attached to things in life as well, because technically you don't really experience life. You experience life through your thoughts and feelings if you don't know how to do this next bit. Now, just for reference, if you don't know who Eckhart Tolle is, he's sold millions and millions of books worldwide on this topic, and his book A New Earth is the only book that's ever been recommended on Oprah Winfrey's book club twice. Now, this concept of not being attached to your thoughts and feelings and being the awareness behind them isn't something that you can quite understand intellectually, because the part of your brain that's trying to understand that isn't the part of the brain that can be the awareness. This is something that you can only really experience and practice. Now, Eckhart teaches this from a place of religions and ancient traditions, but what is absolutely crazy is that a lot of the knowledge that he shares, and he's got his own spin on it with the way he talks about it, but he shares lots of things that were said pretty much 2,000 plus years ago, is now being backed by modern day science. Science shows that the more you practice being this awareness instead of being attached to your thoughts and feelings, the more your brain physically changes over time. You can actually see it like going to the gym for your mind. Changes take place in your brain, so the parts of your brain which are associated with those negative emotions that I spoke about, that you experience with pain and suffering, they reduce in activity and size, and the parts of the brain associated with peace, clarity, happiness actually increase in activity and size. Now, a really easy way you can experience this awareness for yourself is that when this video finishes, or you can pause the video right now, set a timer for 1 minute. And in that minute, I want you to close your eyes, take a deep breath and just relax. And I want you to think about the next thought that you're going to have. What happens for a lot of people is that they'll experience this sense of quietness. Their brain stops and they get this immense sense of space and peace. That is the awareness that you're looking to train instead of being caught up in your thoughts and feelings. The next way to train this is through formal meditation practice. You can set a timer however long you want to for 5 minutes. You basically just want to sit and put your attention on your breath. Most people at this point when they speak about meditation say actually it stresses them out because they can't do it, they can't clear their mind. But that's because they're not doing it right. They think the act of meditation is finding that space, but really what meditation is you putting your attention on your breath. Thoughts and feelings will drag you away, and after you notice they've dragged you away, it's about bringing them back to your breath. The whole point of meditation is to notice that your awareness has been taken and bring that awareness back. The more you practice this over time, the easier it is to be that awareness as opposed to being dragged away by your thoughts and feelings. When you train this state of awareness, it stops you getting lost in thoughts and feelings that either cause psychological pain or psychological suffering, either because you think life has to be a certain way, or because life is doing something to you that you're not happy with. And by training this awareness, you can make 2 new choices. You can decide how you want to experience life, and then you can decide how you're going to allow life to change you internally. It puts you in the driver's seat. Now, this isn't me saying that you're not going to have negative thoughts, negative emotions, because that is just natural reactions of your body. What it does is it changes your relationship to those thoughts and emotions. The more you practice this over time, the more you can sit as that awareness, enjoy the peace, the sense of happiness that comes with this, and not have to rely on a certain way of thinking to fulfill you. Based on what this science says, based on what I've personally experienced, I 100% believe that happiness cannot come from the external world. You can definitely enjoy the external world and still work towards goals and still build the businesses. But ultimately, if you think that's going to make you happy, inevitably at some point it will cause you to suffer. If you ask ChatGPT, it can definitely give you a very long list of millionaires and billionaires who are depressed. And you probably know somebody yourself that seems like they've got everything that they would need, but they're still not happy. I really believe that happiness is something that you can only practice internally, not something that you can achieve externally, which is why people have such a hard time with it. My personal viewpoint is that success definitely isn't building a business, making loads of money at the cost of your health. It's actually winning the inside battle of not being attached to your thoughts and emotions, not being attached to the world needing to be a certain way, but actually being able to train this awareness and this state of being, and then working on your health simultaneously to improve your health overall so you can enjoy the experience of life even more because you're in a better place too. And then going out and enjoying creating something that really fulfills you, because majority of stress is caused by you feeling like you don't want to be in this moment right now, needing to get to a future situation. And then when you get to that future situation, you've built up this terrible pattern of always thinking that this moment isn't good enough, I need something more. So that when you get to that future situation, you just repeat the cycle and you end up in this place of, as I've described through this video, psychological suffering. If you'd like some more in-depth tips now of how to turn your focus to improving your health, you need to watch this video next.